if you have an insurance, you'll never like to say that काश claim हो जाए. We are always with the thought process of that. यार ये कर रहा है तो मैं भी कर देता हूँ. This is happening, so I also do like that. This is, and we are copying, pasting everything. I really don't see any real product innovations. These are the same copy paste we have seen from the West or anybody bringing from the West, and they said this is the concept. And, in India, we are still slow. We are in. I mean, we are very big laggards in terms of.
Hi, I'm Tejas, the founder of BimaKavach, and welcome to SME Insurance Simplified by BimaKavach. Today, we are deep diving into the world of SMEs in India and the role insurance plays for them. And we have Nikash Deka with us, who is head of SME Insurance at Universal Sompo. At Universal Sompo, he's focusing on expanding the insurance accessibility, not just to SMEs and MSMEs through commercial lens, but also through rural India, where he's bringing in a lot of automation, product innovation, and technology across distribution to make sure that the insurance penetration goes up. Previously, Mr. Nikash has had stints with SBI and ICICI Lombard, where he scaled alternate channels, onboarded, major banking partners, and drove national sales. Has been in the industry for 20 years, a very seasoned and an experienced professional. Then I would like to welcome you, Mr. Nikash. Happy to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you, Tejas, and thank you very much for having me in the show. I really don't do podcasts that much, so probably this is the first time, specifically for insurance perspective one. So definitely, I am thankful that you give me these opportunities, and let's see these discussions bring out something very, very vital for the industry. If it helps, it's great.
Well, open dialogues always spark innovation, right, sir? So that's the intention with which we have started this. And thank you once again for doing this.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We just have some quick questions. We want to get your bird's eye view on how the industry is shaping up specifically in the SMEs.
Right.
And some of the questions have also come from a LinkedIn post that we made yesterday, that what people want to know specifically how the industry is doing. But one most important burning question is, which is the most fundamental thing that we get asked all the time from the industry veterans, or maybe even the venture capitalist, that many SME business owners still see insurance as a quote unquote an extra cost. And this also, there have been numerous surveys which have quoted that, industry surveys also state this. What has changed in the last 5 years, you think? And what is driving the commercial insurance growth in the country? Has the mindset shifted to a more, a nuanced risk mitigation versus just ki theek hai, I'm buying it for a compliance sort of a situation?
So Tejas, I mean, this question is a burning question, actually. I mean, this is the root of, as an industry, I think so we should ask this question very, very often, just let me just go a little back from today itself. I joined the industry back in the last September, but the thing is, prior to that, for 6.5 years plus, I was in a different industries. I moved to a different industry, which is basically on customer insight and customer experiences, customer research. So it is basically based on the design thinking and service design principles. So while I was working in other projects, but the thing is that at the end of the day, I had a huge stint of my experience in insurance industry. So these questions keep popping out every now and then. What is the issue? Why insurance is still a cost? As you mentioned rightly, it's still, the perception is still a cost. Now,
Correct.
So I always try to think it from the perspective of a customer rather than from the perspective of a service provider right now. So when I was a customer, say when I moved out from insurance services, I also thought the same thing. It's almost like a cost for me. I had to do an effort to, say for example, I'm taking a health insurance. I had to do a kind of a planning, say for month-on-month planning or a yearly planning or a half-yearly planning, and was also, trying to monitor what is the kind of inflation that is going in the market, right? So very frankly, I thought of increasing my sum insured. I had certain sum insured. I thought I should increase my sum insured. And suddenly the psychology kicked in. saying that I am not suffering anything. I'm still okay. This thing is not showing up anywhere in my entire life cycle. No claims last 5, 6 years. So I don't think so. I need it. That is a thought process. That is a psychology that is playing in everyone's mind. Insurance is not like I have a car. Today I want to accessorize it. So you don't do that. So this is this psychology of always, having to do a little extra bit for an insurance, uh, creates a lot of what do you call it? Um, you that is not your priority anyway. But coming back to your questions, now the thing is that as you see, there is a little bit of growth in the MSME sectors. I'm talking particularly from the SME sectors. So I mean, I'm just keeping the background on the back that basically this is the psychology that is playing in everyone's back of the mind. So now MSME we've seen growth. There are two, three factors that I think it is very, very important. First thing is basically most of the SMEs now for the cash flow purpose are going for finances. So finances has gone into a kind of they are more aware, so to say, in the terms of insurance. They are trying to protect their asset. That is the first thing. Secondly, of course, they are also a revenue earning stream for them. So hand in hand, these two went on well, I believe, in the SME and MSME sectors. Added on top of the cherry on top is basically the insurtechs like yours, like BimaKavach and any and XYZ companies. There are a lot of innovations happen in the process of how you present the product to the end customers or end users, and the accessibility, which was not possible by insurance companies, because the thing is that they were, say, if you go back 10 years from now, you see motor insurance, for example, or health insurance for that matter, was totally manually we are doing it. Now, most of the almost 99% or 90%, if I am not wrong, of the business generally what we see is all done by the your insurtechs. So it is right on the plate. So these three things, I believe: number one, the finances for cash flows for MSMEs, and these finances basically they want the asset to be insured, plus it's a revenue earning for them. And third, as I mentioned, the cherry on top is basically your insurtechs, who are revolutionizing the entire aspect of what insurance should be, not what it was. Because traditionally, something that when we talk about traditional, we have bounded ourselves or limited ourselves to many things which is not necessary, I believe. So this is what insurtech like BimaKavach has understood, that how innovations could be brought into distribution, accessibilities, and of course even the pricing are to more or less has been influenced by insurtechs, because the way you reduce the cost, way you bring ease of distributions, that has created a lot of, although it is not a 100% SME ecosystems or kind of an insurance ecosystems, but still I believe that we have gone a long way. So that is, I believe, is the main crux or the main backbone of what we are seeing, that SME is increasing in terms of SME adoptions or commercial line of business adoptions.
And I think that reflects in the numbers as well. I think in 2020, fire insurance used to be around 14, 15,000 crores premium at the country level, which is now at 25,000 crores.
Absolutely.
Liability has increased from 2,500 to 5,500. And we have also been seeing that almost out of our 3, 4,000 clients, 70, 80% clients approximately are first time to insurance. But one quick question on this is, since you have lived outside the country as well, is this a common behavior even in more matured markets like Singapore and Hong Kong as well, or is it something that India is first time now thinking about mitigating risks?
I mean, this question, I believe it is. It's a very important question, though. But the thing is that when I was doing actually studying this entire aspect of why Singapore has got more penetrations, or for example, say, or why Hong Kong has more penetrations, or why US has a better penetration than us. But the thing is, when I came across all the databases, I saw Thailand is also doing very pretty well. So the math somewhat did not work for me. But the thing is that I believe it is how I believe it is. It's my assessment, of course. Uh, when you compare India and Singapore, the cost of living or the cost of expenses of your, I mean, whenever any adversities happens, the cost is somehow manageable. But in such countries, like say, for example, if I give standalone examples of Singapore, if I am met with any adversities where financial losses is concerned, and that could be a huge burden, and that burden is cannot be eased uh, with your loved ones. The financial burden, say for example, for me, the life so for me, if I have to talk about an hospitalization there, I would have minimum invested, I would have spent minimum 2000 to 3000 US dollars
Absolutely.
anytime. If I go for a normal checkup, $150 is a normal consultancy fees.
Absolutely.
So which is like bizarre. So there they know, the thing is that the cost when of any adversities is going to be so high, it is always better to invest. And plus, they have already reached their awareness, and the information has gone to that level where they have their knowledge base in that particular area where they can make these informed decisions. However, when you talk about India perspective, the thing is that there are many issues. So I also, in this particular organization, Universal Sompo, that I'm working currently, so I also handle the insurance inclusion part, where I basically also, as you mentioned, that we are looking at innovative way to see how we can build the last mile delivery services. So here the biggest problem that we understood is basically, you see, India is a diversity of many religions, many languages, many cultures, and it is very difficult to reach with one approach. So the biggest hurdle that I faced is basically the language. You are living in South, so probably other than Bangalore, if you go out somewhere else, you'll understand that basically the language is the biggest barrier to communicate, right? So same goes for this entire aspect of insurance awareness also. This has caused a little slowness in India, of course. So when you compare developed countries, so to say, they have a single language, single communication languages, it becomes much easier for them to disseminate the entire or percolate the entire information that you want to. But in India, you have to, I mean, that will be one cost for them. Ours is will be 10
Absolutely.
cost for us. So 10x. So
Absolutely.
that is causing a little bit of bottlenecks. But the thing is that I think so now, I believe AI coming into the picture, probably this could be a little eased out.
And talking about penetration, as you rightly mentioned, two quick questions. Specifically coming to rural inclusion, since you lead the speech, sir, at Universal Sompo, how do you see that happening? What are the regulators' nuances that are also helping us to scale that up? I know that states have been adopted by various insurers, and maybe you can throw some light on it in much detail for our audience. But how is the rural inclusion changing? What is, as a cumulative, our industry strategy to sort of go beyond the tier 1 cities? Because I always have a beef with a lot of insurance traditional methods, that we all focus on the large 10 cities and nobody is going beyond that. Hence at Bima Kavach also, how we are looking at this is that almost 60-70% of our business comes from tier 2 and beyond. And I know that's a question mark that government has, regulator has, insurer has. You also lead that. So if you can throw some light at it. And second question is, there are so many various data. Which says that okay, only 15% SMEs are insured. Some say that 5% SMEs are insured. So if you can also sort of extend to that as well, that then how is the regulator and all of us as an industry, specifically insurers, also looking at how do we increase that penetration piece as well? I mean, it's happening as we speak, but any strategies that you have designed or come across or looking forward to sort of implementing within the next short term horizon of 3 to 5 years for both rural inclusion and SME inclusion?
So first thing first is the regulator. Rural inclusion is basically when we're talking about rural, we have to divide into three parts basically, and three parts predominantly. No, I like to divide into three parts. That's my strategy actually. So when I do that is basically one, who needs it immediately. Second one, probably they might adopt it or they might not. And the third one is always dependent on the government. These are the three sectors that I have divided broadly into. So who needs it is basically, as you rightly mentioned, these are probably the business or enterprises who needs it. So that is one of the sector that what I like to look at separately. So here,
Sir,
when
and
it
sorry to interrupt you, but one quick question. Why do they need it? What
okay,
is compelling them to need the insurance? Is because nobody wakes up and starts searching for a product liability insurance.
absolutely, absolutely.
So there
So
must be a reason that they need it for. If you can throw some light at that as well.
no, no. When I said why do they need it, is from my perspective. I'm saying it. It is
Okay.
not that they are asking. Okay,
Okay.
that is always. I mean, that
Got
never
it.
happens. So this
Yes.
is from the perspective of what I have categorized it in a sense like they need it from my perspective. Say, as I mentioned, if you're taking a business on loans, you've started a business on loans. That means I am sure your entire book is insurable and you are at risk
Absolutely.
at any point of time. So this is how I categorize it that way. So this is the three
Absolutely.
categories that I divided into. And the first category, when I said you need it, that is what I am saying you need it. And the thing is that I find a way, I am trying to find a way, in fact, rather put it that way. So I am working with a regulator has given a lot of, they have done a lot of things. But the thing is that at the end of the day, it's the implementation that is getting the main, that is the bottleneck where I feel that the implementation is the issue. And it is not because of willingness, but it is because of that we are always with the thought process of that यार ये कर रहा है तो मैं भी कर देता हूँ this is happening so I will also do like that. This is, and we are copying pasting everything, right? So there is, and is, as I mentioned, yes, as you rightly mentioned, that traditional way is always going on and it's always at the back. I mean, not at the back. In fact, they are leading the entire journey. In fact, the insurance journey. So these probably will change by insurtech like yours. But the thing is, I'll come to that later. So when I do this, so regulator has given a lot of opportunities to us, and in fact, avenues how we can facilitate these things, like your finances and all those things can become CA and all those things. Those has changed a long way, right? That has come. You become a kind of a distributor, XYZ, even if your finances. Those are the things the regulator has already provided. And in fact, you see BSUS, BLUS. Those are the products that's pre-underwritten by almost, with the help of IRDA, GIC, and all those things. So this regulator is definitely coming forward. But the thing is, at the end of the day, is that we have to take the lead. Regulator can help up to that much. But the thing is that how can we take it forward? That's a matter. So a regulator did help to some extent. But the thing is that now, the biggest challenge that when I say they need it is the thing is that how can we make it a mandate? So becoming a mandate is a big issue. Now the thing is that, for example, as you mentioned, the rural insurance part that I take care. So I am in discussion with my state, where we have been, we have adopted the state of Andhra Pradesh, where we are trying to get into discussions with the government agencies to get, how to make this product or whatever they need accessible to those particular needy segments, say your especially your micro and small industries. These are the industries, as you rightly mentioned, these are the industries which are very, very neglected. That there are two reasons: probably it is not viable and it is not cost efficient for us. So this is one of the issue there. So we are working with the government and trying to find out a way out. How can we make it more accessible? And the biggest challenge that we face is the trust factor. Without the government's approval or without government's being in the journey, it is very difficult to convince those micro and small industries. And which is, of course, as you, if you see the numbers in terms of quantum of numbers, small and micro will be very, very big numbers, and reaching them for a 500 or 1,000 rupees premium is not a very, very cost effective way. So that is one way we are thinking of. That is how we are strategizing this first part of it. Second part of it is basically they want it, but they don't know where to approach, how to approach. This is where we are trying to get into a distribution model where the last mile delivery is very, very important for us. As you mentioned, the regulator has done their bit, and they have come up with, now they will be coming out with Bima Sugam and all those things. But the biggest impact that will have is basically through the individual Bima Bahaks that will come into the picture. They will be the last mile delivery. And now we are working on that part also. So here we are when you talk about SME inclusions, that the biggest push will be the government. For example, they give a lot of incentives, and I think so they should give more incentives. So coming back to this, um, I think so they should look at how they can subsidize the premium for them. How can they can bring parity in terms of GSTs, how they can help them. Taxation, they should help. They should give some rebates if you are insured.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
example, Kerala government is doing it.
yes, yes, absolutely.
For every SME policy that they buy, there is a 50% rebate in the premiums up to a certain amount of 2,500, where you can basically claim it from them. And I was speaking to somebody very senior from a PSU
Mm,
within the state of Kerala,
mm,
DGM basically of the largest PSU of the country. And she
okay.
said that what the government has done has that asked all four of us, and now including the private insurers as well,
Mm,
to reach out to the SMEs,
mm,
push the entire scheme, and start compensating, giving discounts directly via the premiums itself, and government will compensate those enterprises versus the customer, because the customer was saying that okay, me, even if I buy the policy today, when and how will I get the rebate from the government? That is a very complicated process. So it's a good initiative that the government is saying, I'll give the rebate to the insurer, but you at least provide the benefit on the first hand itself to the ground level enterprises at least.
absolutely, absolutely. That is, I think so. It's a very good initiative, because the thing is that look, um, as you know, insurance is not a tangible product anyway. I mean, it is never going to be. And I mean, if you have an insurance, you'll never like to say that cash claim ho jaye.
Huh.
That never happens, right? So that is not something that you wish to happen. But the
Yeah.
thing is that probably this process, even 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, if they see such, I mean, recently the Gujarat in Surat thing, Surat
Yeah.
fire, I mean, that is an eye opener. So immediately after that, we started getting calls for insurance XYZ and all these things for those from those clients. So these things, when it happens, it drives. But the thing is that, like COVID, it drove health insurance, to that level where you now today at least you don't have to put have to do extra efforts in terms of awareness. Probably SME also has to. It's the highlight of those incidents are very, very low. I think so that need to be projected more. Although it sounds like you are throwing threatening, or you are fear mongering kind of a thing. You are showing them fear, and then you're doing insurance businesses. But the thing is that that's a reality actually. You know we have to show them the reality that these things are happening in this particular sector, and this is where you can save protect yourself. That is one aspect of it. Second aspect, I think so we should also, apart from what government of Kerala is doing, I think so there is also insurance companies can do. There are a lot of innovation things that can be bought into, like for example, if you're insurtech, you can always look at developing, or in with an insurer and the producer, we can develop products which are much easy to sell, easy to understand. It should be plug and play, or I feel that it is almost like it should be gamified in terms, like for example, today I'm using this product. So during the rainy season, I want the flood, for example. I should be able to add that flood, and in the dry days, I don't know, in winter I don't want it, for example, I should be able to remove it, the pay as you use kind of a thing. So that should be plug and play. Those are the innovations that I think so it should be bought into insurance. I don't know how actuarial will take it, but the thing is, this is how I think so we should go forward in terms of insurance.
So, touching base upon this important topic that you brought up on the insurance product innovation,
Mm,
um, I have a lot of hypotheses around the products. Every time we go to the insurers with requests that, let's build something for, as you rightly said, ki why can't a flood be, basically an opt-in, opt-out cover on a seasonal based. Generally, sir, how it functions, that you will receive a no from your actuarials, or you will receive a no stating that, okay, look, the reinsurance treaty does not allow us to do that. And that is across not one insurer, that is across every single insurer in the case. And I've since, we design our own products, we like to sort of, change the way insurance is being built up from grounds up.
Mhm.
Interactions with reinsurers see the same reactions as well, because they're like, this is too small for us. What will it do in within a 12-month time frame, and etc. One of my very strong opinions, contrary to the industry, is that enough innovation is not thought through, and even if it is thought through, it's not implemented on the ground in terms of just the product level. We all talk about distribution innovation always, because all of us have to distribute it, but very few conversations in the industry have sparked innovation around the product side. What, according to you, is happening on that front? Are we ready for a 2030 like product in 2025, or we are still sitting with a 1999 product in 2025, and we will still take 20 years? And what is it that the same reinsurers in the West will come up with covers like an AI specific PI? They will come up with a crypto PI. They will come up with so many interesting products which is abreast with the times that are changing. But when it comes to our specific region, it's just like, no, 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 we can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't distribute it this way, you can't create such products. So do you think this stifling will come to an end sometime soon? I mean, people like us are trying to shake up. It's not just us, but the more insurtechs are trying to shake up the way it's thought traditionally. But I still feel that a lot more can be done. What is your take on the product specifically on the terms of innovation?
On the lighter side, I believe this. On the lighter side, it will be very, very difficult if you don't remove the actuary department and the underwriting department from this equation. Once you do that, probably this will become a very easier task to do it. So coming back to a little bit, on the serious part of it, yes, you're right, very true. The distribution is what we are talking about. But when you talk about product innovations, I really don't see any real product innovations. You know, these are the same copy paste we have seen from the West or anybody bringing from the West, and they said this is the concept, you do it. But I have never seen anybody from, seeing the topography or kind of your populations, what kind of, constructions you have, what kind of construct you have in the Indian diaspora, and how we can walk out a product for them. It is never from the grounds up, you see. So the perspective, and when you see, I'm just telling you, that's a very hard fact and a very sad story also. When I'm sitting as a producer, I always see the myopic view of it. But the thing is that when your organizations like you, startups like you, when you bring things from up down, that is where innovation happens. I mean, I am from the design thinking community, so I believe it is the insights what brings innovation. It's not what you think you sell, you sell it. That is not innovation at all. I mean, these things works well with Steve Jobs when he say that I am developing an iPhone and the people are stupid. Even if you tell them what is this, they will not understand unless I show them after doing it, how to use it. So that is true for those kind of high tech things. But the thing is, this is a very basic needs that we need. It is actually our need, but the thing is, we don't understand that we need it. So you see, there was a time when COVID vaccine, you never wanted to have a COVID vaccine because the thing is just thinking, oh my God, there is a small robotic,
Yeah,
all those things will come and they will take over your body and
yeah,
those things,
yeah,
XYZ.
yeah.
Those things happen. So apprehension will be there. But the thing is that, as I mentioned, if you just think broadly, if you have an open-minded in terms of your actuary, in terms of underwriting, it should not be personal specific. So once you have an experience that this person, I'll tell you, it's a very, very, it's a double-edged sword actually. You as an underwriter on actuary, you have gone to an adverse client or adverse claim or adverse case, use case, and now you have that thing embedded in your mind. So anytime you want to do something innovations, you'll always have that thing, even if you don't think it, it will be in the back of your mind. So you'll always have predicament whether to do this or not to do. That fear is the biggest hurdle in terms of innovations of product. Today, for example, beatborn. People are so cautious, and absolutely, there's no harm in
Correct.
being cautious. But the thing is, they are slow also. So again, I believe as a producer, we are slow. But as as a partner, as a partners of producers or service providers, I think so. You people can do innovation, a lot of innovations, and you should come with a lot of ideas and throw it to those insurance companies. We are 36 insurance companies. I think so. One will adopt it.
And one more thing, touching back on the point that you mentioned earlier, was about trust specifically, where it's not just an SME, but also an individual who also sort of doesn't trust the product as much as it should be. Do you, very interestingly, just very curious, that is it across the world? Have you seen this across, let's say, the West as well, or the Southeast Asia, or this trust discussion is only related to just the Indian context?
No, I have seen that trust is not a very big thing outside, because the thing is that first thing first, the education level is a little on the higher side, except for the underdeveloping countries will have this issue. But in developed countries, they might be angry that, for example, I had given 100 rupees ka claim and you have given me only 80 rupees. They might have that dissent in their back of the mind, but the thing is that at the end of the day they will think that, okay, this is how it works, because this our country is developed, and the thing is that everyone is honest. For example, I'm just giving you, I had stayed in Singapore for quite a long time. So there the thing is that even if the claim amount is deducted, say 20% is deducted, you never go and question until unless you are very sure. You think that, okay, this particular country is such an honest country in terms of policies and all those things. So I don't see those are the things that is happening. So that perception comes from there, and our perception is from on the opposite side. You see, there are a lot of corruption happening here, a lot of corruption happening there, and it does happen also. I'm not saying it is no, but the thing is that that perception is always there, even if you are doing the right thing. Say for example, a car met an accident, I say excess इतना लगेगा भैया, आपका इसका है 2,500 लगेगा. Once you say that, they said, why लगेगा, मैंने तो insurance पूरा premium दिया. They don't even try to understand कि this is, I mean, number one, awareness is an issue. Number two, probably while selling, we have not given them quite clear picture. And third, they always think that this person is trying to cheat you. So this happens. So trust issue, generally, I don't see in developed countries much, because the thing is that they have at the back of the mind, they have that entire policies are there in place, and this is respected by everyone. But here we think that every policy is for the benefit of the money making mongers. So that is the concept, I think so, where we are finding issues.
And how do we then win the trust of customers? And it's a justified trust deficit, right? Because there have been numerous incidents that all of our friends and family would have come across, that policy becha, claim nahi mila, deductions ho gaya, awareness nahi hai. Then it's a cumulative, I think, insurance industry's failure, that we being professionals of the industry have not been able to do that. Even at BimaKavach, we take care of this very specifically. I remember recently a very small SME owner that one of was explaining to my VC why his money got deducted, and basically the team educated that customer that this is how it happens, these are the access clauses, this is what. And he was very confident in going back to the feedback loop and saying that this is what it happens, this is how it should be done, and I'm very satisfied with, let's say, an X amount being deducted, because this is how insurance is basically. At a granular level, at our scale, we are sort of achieving that brick by brick, stone by stone. But the macro has a very different story, sir. Specifically, I'm sure even when you deal with customer, this comes up on an everyday basis. How is your lens specifically on this particular problem, and how do we solve this gap of education and awareness? Because ultimately, it's people like you and I who have to do this. We can't expect customers to open up 50 pager policy wordings and go through that. So distributors and producers both have to work towards it. But cumulatively, if this has to happen, what do you see that we need to innovate upon or educate, or what? Probably one key takeaway for both of us that after the call would be, yeah, let's go back and implement this, so that in 5 years this changes something at least.
So Tejas, and you have touched a very sensitive point. Actually, I'll just give you an instance. Once I was telling one of our product development team on this. I said, let's say, in the flyer or in the brochure, let's do one thing. Let's show them what we cannot give. We'll just mention what we cannot give, and the rest, what we can give, it will be understood by them. So he got a little upset. He said, no, this cannot be done, because the thing is that no, these are the things that has to be in like minute and small. People should take effort to find it out. So that was one of the thought process at that particular point of time. But the thing is, now we have evolved. Now your regulator, or even the insurance companies, or even insurtechs like you, who have made this probably. I will not say 100% we are there, but the thing is that we are still progressing towards it. So my take to it is basically what I have done is basically I try to do vernaculars, number one, because the thing is that when you communicate, as I said, India is a land of diversities, and every 100 kilometers you have got different languages, different dialects, and it's very difficult to communicate the same thing. Now, I mean, on the lighter side, when I tried AI to translate from English to some other language, and it was like a very literal translation, but which did not make any sense for a reason.
Correct.
It was laughable. So uh, the thing is that this should not be just a checklist kind of a thing. First thing first, when you do I think so. This is one of the way that we should do it, is that it should not be a checklist. It should be a proper communications in terms of, say, when I'm saying now, I say, for example, um, to touching upon this point is that अच्छा क्या insurance लिया.
Hmm.
That is a huge investment, and people did well. It's a very nice ad. But the thing is that you see, अच्छा क्या insurance लिया, that it doesn't end there. But the thing is that now the other part is that how do you, what is the usability of that customer? मैंने insurance ले लिया, लेकिन what is the usability? How can I, those, as you mentioned rightly, access क्या है, and where are the what are the exclusions? What are the inclusions? You don't have those. I mean, knowledge base anyway. That is okay. That is, you got the attention. Now what is next? So that next has to be there. So we always fail in the next. We said okay, मैंने एक अवेयरनेस कैंप कर दिया, हेल्थ कैंप कर दिया, वहां पे 100 लोग आए, मैंने उनका हेल्थ कैंप करवा दिया. They will come and do business. But the thing is that how will it happen? What is the next? So that follow-up actions, I think so we are missing. I am not blaming anybody, but the thing is that this is happening all across. I mean, in personal level also, we do many things. We take 10 different projects and then we forget it. So here a follow-up action is necessary. So when you start this campaign, then I think so you should end it also. We do not have an exit strategy. We just have the entry strategy there.
Entry strategy.
That is
One
a
very interesting thing that we did when we were designing, liability products with one insurer was in the quote slips that were going to the customer, we sort of fought with the insurer and told that can we highlight the exclusions first. So in the code slip now, how it's designed is basic details, then exclusions, and then basically all of the inclusions. Versus it's always the vice versa. And we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that because customers are first reading the entire negative list, what you just mentioned, and then they get to know basically what is included basically. And a lot of customers tell us that it's great because it helps us understand what is not covered. That's a very important thing for us. What is covered to everyone will sell it to us. Nobody is talking about what is not covered in the policy and why it is not covered in the policy. So just these small changes as well will go a very long way, I personally feel. Are you seeing initiatives by the insurers uh, taken up to adopt AI specifically in the industry?
Yes, they are. They are. But the thing is that in India we are still slow. We are in. I mean, they are very. We are very big laggards in terms of adopting technologies. Okay, so this is where you people can come. I mean, into the systems where you can show them that this can be done in 3 days. This can be done in 3 months. This can be done in 3 years rather than taking 30 years. So
So
that
we are also, sir, basically using it for underwriting right now, where a lot of decision making has been sort of built it in a way that can be taken for smaller risks more instantly. To give you an example, for a DNO like product, I can download financials in real time. I can assess them in real time and then decide whether to quote even a universal Sompo's quote or not, or should it be a referral risk given back to the underwriters because my system tells me that boss, this risk is slightly dicey or this risk is great, go ahead and price it. So even if underwriters are giving us a certain framework, we are adopting AI and a lot more technology to keep checks and balances so that both our combined ratios, loss ratios, everything looks clean and clear, not today, but even at a horizon of 3 to 5 years from now. SMEs may make money today, but may not make money even for insurers in due course of time. Hence, those implementations have become easier for us. And I personally feel that since for our business it's a more volume driven business rather than just doing one large enterprise, I can't deploy hundreds of people to sort of just underwrite a 10,000 rupee policy on a daily basis. Neither can you. So I think AI and a lot more has to come in into picture to sort of do that, at least in terms of underwriting, policy issuance, and so many other things.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right, Tejas. You're right on point because the thing is that three, four things are drawbacks in terms of what the current system is and what we aspire to be. The thing is, we have the human emotions. Number one, whims and fancies. I don't like you, so I'll not give you a good kid. I like you, I'll give you a good kid, good quote. That is human, emotions comes into the picture. Secondly, you are slow. Definitely, you'll be much, much slower than the AI. The time constraint today, time is very, very important. Now sometimes I feel that I am not able to match your speed. I mean your startups, I mean the tech platforms speed. The reason why is the thing is we are so slow in making the decisions. And I might say, Martin, it is a FIFO system, so I'll wait till the time your system, your inward system shows me your code. So these are the things that can be overcome with this particular implementations. I think so. This has to be, otherwise we will be left much, much, much behind.
So, sir, bringing upon the topic of innovation and technology and expanding it to, how do you see the current SME penetration increasing within the horizon of 5 years in India specifically?
When I looked at the figure, how MSME is growing and how they're adopting technologies and how they are, progressing and competing with the global market. I see there is a huge potential. I think so. Somewhere I read it is 1.5, 5 lakhs crores or something like that. That is the industry that we're looking at. Oh, sorry, 1.5
Billion,
billion.
I think it's
Billion,
billion,
yes,
yes, yeah.
1.5 billion, if I'm not
Within
mistaken.
the 5 years time frame.
Correct, correct, correct. So that is a pretty good number. I mean, it is above good actually, and I hopefully feel that probably we will have at least 20-25% coverages in terms of penetration. Why I'm saying 20-25% is that there are many challenges here. There will be, we have paper companies, we have got other companies. Although we see the numbers to be such huge numbers in terms of MSME funding or MSME in the industries and all those things, but the thing is, nevertheless, if you see the reality, there will be a lot of industries. So, especially in the micro and small segments, if you go to that site, you'll not even find. It is not insurable, so to say. Even if that unit is there, it is not insurable. So we have to do something about it. That is one of the challenges that we see. So I'm saying even if we have 25% penetration rate in terms of covering the entire MSME business, I'm just not talking about just fire business or one liability business or one marine insurance. I'm talking about an entire ecosystems if I create. So here we have to come on a holistic level coverage instead of a single coverages. Then only I think so we'll be able to we'll be successful in this particular mission. So when you say the market is huge, as you have rightly seen, the growth in a tier 3 and onward cities, where you have started penetrating, and that's a very positive thing to happen. And the thing is that if government and like now, implement by implementations of, state insurance plans, that could be one of the drivers that can be pushed into this mission, definitely. Because when we're talking about 2047, um, mission of insurance to all, that is basically a very big uh, opportunity for us, where we as a regulator, producer, and distributors plus the government, the authorities can work together to build these numbers to what we aspire for. I will not say that we'll have 100%. That will be a total lie on, if I say that. But the thing is, at least if we can reach 25% of penetration, true penetration, adequate insurance. So my tag is adequate insurance. That is very, very important. Let it be on per use basis. Let it be on, seasonality basis. Whatever it is, you design the most innovative product possible, but that should be adequate. 360 degrees coverage for an MSME. When I'm saying that, I mean I should be able to cover the entire balance sheet. So if I have every item covered under insurance or under any protection plan, that is will be the real, coverages for me, penetration for me. So I see
And
huge potential.
and to extend just the last bit into this from a very business owner POV, since you have brought this topic up. Um, the question that we get asked is, what are the right covers for me? Is this enough? And I don't have budget, uh, so I can only buy this much. So what should I buy then? Ideally, obviously, yes, they should have everything in place to cover their assets, to cover their liabilities, to cover their employees, to cover a bunch of risks. But an SME owner may not look at it that way, because they may look at it from the perspective that, okay, मेरे पास तो सिर्फ 1 लाख रुपए हैं. Who do I protect? Do I protect myself? Do I protect my people? Do I protect, or do I buy adequate insurance? I may buy all of the insurances, but they may not be adequate. And a lot of these questions are very common, sir, across businesses. In such situations, how do we suggest them the right thing? What is right? And if they can only buy one product after another after product, how do they sort of approach uh, mitigation of risks basically within a very tight budget?
Absolutely. So this is a very burning question, and it is a catch-22 situations for many SME owners. Recently, I was in the business chamber of commerce, and there the same question was asked, like, how do I know which insurance I need and how much do I need? So that time the question was that the answer was my answer was that there are a lot of informations in the today in the digital format. You can have a lot of understanding from it, and you'll also, if you just put, I mean, today in ChatGPT or any other places, if you put something, you'll definitely get some output. But okay, having said that is probably what you can do from your side personally. But the thing is that again, I still believe that this as a commercial line of business is something that we cannot just grab it in one day, probably. So this is where you need some professional help, either digitally, like we have online consultations and all those things. If we can have that kind of a thing, I mean, the concept should be, so from consultation point of view, if you have that kind of an option, that could be one of the helpful thing. Secondly, of course, every wherever digital footprint is there, wherever it is there, it should be having a single customer journey. So where omnipresence in terms of your entire journey. If the person is any touch point, you should be able to give him the solutions everywhere. So this way, I believe you have to provide for it. There is no short answers to it, because the thing is that when um, someone wants to understand what to take, it's a very broad answer. It's a very, very broad answer, and it's very subjective also to many things. As you rightly mentioned, now I'll just come back to the point that you said, I have only certain amount of money. I have only X amount of money, and either I invest in this one or this one or this one. So there are two ways that we can do it. It's either we can start innovating product where I can do per use. We can do risk-based, daily risk-based pricings, where we can, tell him that, okay, these are the risk areas. Just in the earlier discussions we had, that I mentioned that probably if suppose if you don't need flat cover in dry seasons, probably you remove it and you have some premium free out from it. You can invest in something else. So it should be, I believe that subsidizations in terms of premium against any perils should be the innovations that we should go forward. Secondly, of course, I mean, there are some organizations who are also they're funding insurance premiums. So if cash flow is an issue, probably that could be another way of doing it. Government should come into systems. Say, for example, they should, for example, if it's a premium for insurance covers, they should have free interest-free loans. Say NABARD and all those things. They can, they do give SIDBI, NABARD, or small scale industries department. They should do those fundings on the, say, for example, without any interest. So those are the innovatives, or those are the initiatives that can be taken together as a whole. I mean, a single MSME cannot come, and say that, okay, this is what I have. Please help me out. But if there is a necessity of, say he has X amount of money and he has to take minimum three covers and he doesn't have enough money. So I think so we should take out a method of dividing that particular resources among these three, or maybe bring outside funds, help them with that particular cash flow. There is no shortcut to it, of course. But the thing is that again, cliche it might sound, But the thing is that I heard a very senior person from the national insurance company saying that you do is that you do fire insurance for your asset. But what if you're in a service industry?
Mm.
So it becomes a different perspective now. Then you do a personal professional liability, for example. So every industry will have its own take, which which is the priority. That way, of course, we can choose on the priority, but I feel that still we should do a little bit of more innovation in terms of giving them a holistic cover instead of giving them just single cover. That is the reason that we are not able to reach.
But then we can also design policies which
Absolutely.
cover, let's say, so if you are an IT industry, I can design policies which cover, more risks than what just one single policy would cover, so that it helps you with not buying like six policies just to cover your every single risk, and have like better, more focused, industry driven products, so that comprehensively you can, uh, look after this. I mean, then the innovation can also happen that, why can't a fire insurance have a cyber insurance to some extent included, because maybe a manufacturing unit not needs a very large cyber insurance cover but has a need for a very large fire insurance cover. So an add-on could not just be, let's say, related to property insurance, but an add-in can also be built from a perspective for DNO and a cyber insurance within that product, so that adequate risk is being taken care of via a single product. Uh,
Absolutely. So you're talking about most probably in terms of like, customizable product that you can have.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, that is the app actually. That is what I am coming to. It's basically we should do these things. This is the way forward. As I mentioned earlier, if suppose you have a kind of a what you're doing with DNO, if that can be done for the entire organization, for the entire enterprise, for example, you have the entire risk profile with you, and you can immediately put a policy design on that. You can just slap a
Absolutely.
design on top of it, right? So it can be customizable for anyone. So it should not be like one size fit for all. It should never be
Absolutely.
like that for insurance also.
Absolutely.
But today we are doing that. So that is what we have to come out from.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, thank you, sir. It was a really great, insightful chat with you. Thank you for being on the podcast, and hoping to see you sometime soon again on the same.
And thank you, Tejas. Thank you, Tejas.
Thanks.
And it was wonderful chatting with you, and it was a wonderful experience for me. I don't know if I could have given some insight. Hopefully, out of that,
No,
even
no, sir.
an
Absolutely.
insight has come.
It was
Definitely,
very
I feel,
insightful.
yeah.
Definitely.
So, and very, very thankful, and hopefully, we'll have more chances of doing this again
Absolutely,
in
sir.
future. And thanks a lot
Thank
again.
you.